Ladies and gentlemen, this is my private moment. My last private moment in this video because we've got David here. Are you gonna do the honors? Say hello? So do it.
Hi guys. Ja, bocs, akkor előre.
No, don't do that. Wait, stop. Let's do it again. So, David, this is your moment.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping.
Oh yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna be behind the scenes and I'm going to comment what he's doing and maybe I'm gonna ask some questions and I'm gonna disturb him so that...
Yeah, not problem.
Not a problem?
Nah.
All right. David, by my humble opinion, is to date probably the best aquascaper at Green Aqua. Sorry, Tommy. I've seen what you did in the 20-liter nano tank. I love that scape, guys. I love it. You've got the spirit, man. So,
Thank you very much.
There you go. And there goes the, what kind of stones are they?
Normal Seiryu stones.
So those are going to harden the water.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but with the 50% water changes, it's perfectly okay.
I can see that he's probably building the dividing line between the foreground and the background. So there's gonna be a thin layer of sand at the left side of the tank.
No, I don't want sand in the foreground because basically we have sand foreground in every 60p.
We never talk about the basic process of assembling the technology for a planted tank. When you decided what size you wish to use, then comes everything else. This one is a high tank. It's a 45 by 30 by 45 centimeter tank.
At this moment, I'm checking the space for the lighting unit.
There you go. WRGB II SLIM. After you selected the tank, you'd have to go for deciding with the filtration. I would prefer to use an external filter, no matter the tank size, and I would prefer to do that because the filtration is the most important thing to the biology. Once you selected the external filter for a tank, then you have to go with the lights. We prefer RGB lights, as you saw in this case, the Chihiros light, because the color is really cool. These lights are dimmable, so if you buy something like this, you can use it without CO2, just make sure to dim it down. If you do plan to have CO2, then it's fine. So David is using my maintenance stand. This is the only time when anybody can use my maintenance stand.
Thank you very much.
While chopping, you can twist it a little bit and then it's gonna take away some part. It's gonna look very natural, right?
Yeah, it's more natural.
David is trying to arrange the juniper wood on top of the Seiryu stones. You need to fill up the tank totally, because if you don't have any hardscape visible at the top, you will probably have an unbalanced layout. And what kind of style did you want to do in this case?
Some kind of minimalistic nature style.
The nature style is coming from the Japanese master who is no longer with us, Sensei Takashi Amano. At Green Aqua, we do have a service where we pre-select hardscape for our customers who are unable to visit us in Hungary, and we can ship the pre-selected hardscape. That is a different service that we provide for customers. And actually David is one of the aquascapers that is helping you guys to find the proper hardscape pieces. How many people did you help so far, David, with this?
Maybe 3-4 people every week.
As I can see from the front, this is going to be a triangle composition. We are using liquid superglue, which we drip on top of the little piece of paper towel that we stuck in between the wood and the rock. This liquid superglue does nothing into the water later. It will not leach anything into the water, so it's not going to be toxic to the fish. When you're building an aquarium, always have a trash can at hand. You have no idea how many times are you going to use it. How old are you, David?
24.
I don't mean to retire. I'm going to stay here with you, but I really want to give more space to these guys because, you know, we need fresh energy on this channel, I think. Actually, David is a photographer as well. So the visual composition rules are not new to him. It's a good point not to have sand in the foreground, I think, because 90% of the tanks have some kind of sand in the foreground, which is a cool thing because it increases the height of the tank. The tank looks much higher because of that, because you have a thinner layer at the bottom, but it's also, the variety is not there. And also, please don't forget that if you have sand in the background, your maintenance routine will be much more time consuming. Now, David is scratching the glass.
No. I'm just using another rock because this one doesn't have any fitting point to the Seiryu stone.
How many tanks did you build, David, so far? Can you count them?
I have built maybe 20 aquascapes and 5 reef tanks and several vivariums.
Oh, you had reef tanks. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm not giving him any layout tips. As I said, he's much better than I am. If you drip super glue on top of the wood or the rocks, don't worry about that. You will be able to scrape it off.
Is it okay?
I'm going there, I'm going to hold it and then you can tell. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's perfect because it makes the triangle a little bit like a circle. So we are done with the hardscape. That was the most difficult part.
If you're using base layer fertilizing substrate, the minimum amount of soil that you can use is 4 centimeters. Otherwise, the water flow will take out the nutrients from the base layer fertilizing substrate and the water will become cloudy. So David, why didn't you add any base layer fertilizing substrate in this tank?
The old version of Amazonia have a lot of nutrients in it, so I started with it, and I will take the new version.
The version 2?
Yeah, the version 2.
And add the root tabs.
I will add another layer of stones to the scape.
Oh, so you're gonna raise it?
Yes.
So you're gonna have rocks, soil, rocks,
yeah.
Soil.
I make terraces.
The back is much higher than the front, so we always do some slopes. You can put it like a display, so the tank will display all the plants that you planted. So that's why we always raise the substrate towards the back. David is using the soil as a filler. If you think that soil is expensive, you can use filter material or any stones, porous stones like pumice, because if you use that, it will also help you with the filtration. The soil tends to roll forward with time. So if you have like 3 centimeters, in a couple of months, you will have 4 centimeters somehow.
Don't like the fact that I don't see the bottom of the rocks, but I can add more rocks.
Constructing a layout is a trial and error process. Oh, by the way, these soils do not need any rinsing. This wood and this rocks would probably need some rinsing if you want to get rid of dust. Did you already decide on the plants that you are going to use?
I'm sure I want to use some kind of moss with small pebbles or small rocks and some kind of stem plant in the back which can follow the V shape.
a maintenance nightmare. I'm translating. By the way, this wood is not available at Green Aqua because this was a present from our American friend, Tambar. But you can buy the Rotala Pearl, and you can buy the rocks and everything else that we use here. Shameless plug, I know.
Is it okay?
More than okay. I love it, mate. I don't see how the soil will not roll forward on the right side, though.
With the planting, with the roots.
You can stop it with the roots,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
As you can see, David is preparing the Cryptocoryne Vendetia Green, and he's also preparing the gel type Eleocharis acicularis Mini. We've got some pebbles, Seiryu stone pebbles, some flat pieces that we are going to use to glue moss onto it. We're ready with the plants. We've got a new plant, the Ludwigia inclinata var verticillata. You can see that on the right side of the plate at the bottom. And then we have the Mattogrossense at the left, and then the Eleocharis to the far left. And at the top you can see the crypts, the Vendetia brown, and you can see the Staurogyne repens. The second tray consists of 3 pieces of Christmas moss, and then we have the Microzorum. I think that's the normal Theropus. It's much easier to spray in the soil before planting. And also you will need the sprayer to wet the plants, because after you open the boxes you might dry them out. Ideally recommend people to buy the plants after the hardscape is ready, if you can do that. And then he moves to the Mattogrossense.
Maybe I mix them. The new plant has a really reddish tint, and the Mattogrossense has more like an orange. So you will have some kind of a fade effect with it.
As you are planting the new plants in, you are actually softening the scape. So the wild style of the scape will start to disappear. And that is something that you also need to take into consideration. If you see 80% wood after planting, you're going to see 20% wood after 2 months. If you just leave this and you don't trim it regularly, you're going to lose much of the visible surface of the wood and the rocks. General rule of thumb is that you will need 1 pot or 1 box of plant for 1 palm size area. In these videos, I'm always telling you guys that we're planting a lot more densely because we want to achieve the final look quickly. And from this point I can already see one mistake. So the foreground soil level is moving all over the place. It's like a wavy structure. So we should just, somehow try to flatten that. Christmas moss. We have 3 pieces, and using uneven numbers in branches, in rocks, in plants is very important. It will look more natural.
But
and,
maybe
and you never wanted to use any Bucephalandra or any epiphyte plants?
It's a good,
like Anubias or
good idea, yeah.
David is going to add some detail. He will need to put the plants in between the rocks, so he will just make some cracks. Anyway, so we've got the Bucephalandra kedagang, the reddish one, and then we have the Bucephalandra Wavy green. And the Bucephalandra kedagang was the plant of the month in July. It means that it's a very popular plant, guys. Check out our plant of the month campaigns on Instagram. Always use the same plant, just a little bit of patch of that same plant somewhere else in the tank, like David did here. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, the aquarium is ready.
I really like it. This was my first natural style building in the gallery. I hope you like that too, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.